Hello everybody and welcome back to the Woodcrafts by Design shop. I'm Joshua Iverson. Today is March 6th, 2017, and this is my weekly video log series, a look at what goes on down here in the shop. Now in my last video log I mentioned that I was hoping to get a jump start on the drawer boxes for my parents' kitchen. Unfortunately that did not happen, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But as for what did happen in the shop this week, I managed to get these star boards, that's what I call them, run for a friend of mine. He takes these are actually to scale of the American flag, of the star portion. I run this on my CNC machine, and the width of the board is 12, the length is 17, and all the stars are actually engraved with the CNC machine at to scale according to the dimensions off the AmericanFlag.gov website. So he basically takes, after he buys these off of me and I run them, he takes them and actually turns them into a full-scale rustic wood flag that he sells for himself, to his friends and stuff. So managed to get that done Thursday evening. Other than that, the only other thing that actually really happened down here is while I was running these in the CNC machine room, because I have the machine in its own room because it's so dang loud. I cleaned out that room while it was running, so because that room it just turns into a kind of a stockpile storage room for unfinished projects and other things, and it just got so crowded in there I could barely open the door to get in and get out, and had run the machine without moving a whole bunch of stuff. So while these were running, because they run them in 2-star patterns per running, and each running took about an hour. So while the machine was running that 3 hours, I took the advantage of the time and cleaned that room out a little bit. Besides that, my father came down here. He needed some more trim pieces for his for around his windows that he's been working on in the dining room. So other than that, the only exciting thing that's going on down here is on Friday I picked up a new 18 gauge pinner for the shop. The pinner I have been using for years and years and years and years is a Craftsman pinner, and it came with a set that came with an air compressor. So I mean the whole set was like $300 or something, 15, 16 years ago, and came with a pinner, a nailer, and a stapler. And I still use all three. The only reason I replaced the pinner itself is because my father's been using my pinner down at his house for his trim, and it gets kind of frustrating when my tools are down there and I need them up here to work. So the other reason I replaced the pinner is because that pinner, I mean, it's old, but it works well. The only major issue I have with it is it only shoots 1 3/8 up to 1 3/8 pins, which is kind of limits you on what you can do sometimes. If you're shooting some larger crown or something like that, you need kind of a longer pin, to stabilize that sometimes. So that's why I wound up picking up the Boss Stitch, because it shoots up to 2 inches. So looking forward to using that. And I've also started using these. They're little ear plugs, just a little plug. Not so much a review on these because they're not worth their own video, but I figured I'd bring them up. I've had them for about a week or so sitting in the box. I got them off Amazon, and this past week I had my wife help me mold these because you're supposed to like boil them one at a time, and then the plastic gets soft, and then they actually mold to fit your particular ear. Now the thing I like about these is you can get a lanyard for them, which I did. So when you're done with them, they hang around your neck. You're done with it. They can hang there till you need them again. And they come with little silicone inserts for going in your ears, which are great, but it also comes with these little squishy foam inserts that go onto the little prongs, which works even better. Now, this also brings up another thing. These do not cancel out noise 100%. I don't think there's really anything that does, but it cancels out enough of the damaging noise that it saves your ears, so you don't wind up going deaf down the road. In my many years of working in wood, I've never actually used any kind of ear protection, mostly because I was young and didn't feel it was necessary. When I worked at another professional cabinetry shop, they never used ear protection either. You know, me and the other guy that did most of the work, he'd been there 30 years, never used ear protection. So I didn't while I was there. And a lot of the times when you're running equipment stuff, you kind of have to hear what's going on. You have to hear what your buddy's saying, you know, if something needs to change or you need to stop, or because a lot of times when you're running like huge full sheets of plywood, you're working in tandem to get things done properly, you know, safely. And the other reason I like that these don't cancel out 100% of the noise is because I follow my own kind of 3 sense safety rule, you know, because, you know, your eyes, your ears, and your feel, you know, are the best things you can do for when you're running stuff on equipment. If you can't feel it, you don't know what's going wrong. If you can't hear it, you can't hear when something's going wrong, and obviously you're not going to wear blinders. But um, you know, running a board across the table saw, you know, the best control you can possibly have is with your hands. I'm not a big believer in push sticks for this reason. I don't understand why people feel that they have to use like these 1.5 foot long push sticks, one in each hand, kind of pushing one in and pushing the other in from the back. And it in my mind, that's more dangerous than just using your hands and being very careful about where you place them. Now I do have some push sticks. I have a small, I think it's a little Bench Dog is the brand. I keep it right in the end of my table saw fence to just in case, you know, when I'm running something really narrow, 1/4 inch, you know, around there, you know, when I get to the end of my cut and I get close to the blade, you know, whip out the push stick and push it through. It's done. But for the rest of the cut, I'm using my hands, using my eyes to see, using my ears to hear. So that's just something that I follow. I've been doing this for many years. I still have all my digits. I've had a couple of close calls, but who hasn't? You know, the thing you got to take away is you can't be scared of the equipment. If you're scared of the equipment, it can lead to doing dumb things that can cause more damage than if you just, you know, followed your own common sense and did them. Um, so that's the reason why I got these, is because I have some of the equipment I have in my own shop is a little bit more ear piercing than other places that I've worked or have done things in. My planer is one of those things. It tends to scream really loud when it's running. Another thing is the CNC machine I have in the other room. That's why I mentioned it's in the other room, because it's just so loud, ear piercing, noisy, that I put it in there. And even in the other room, it's still pretty loud coming through. But you know, when I have to go in and check the machine, it's great to have just pop these in my ears and I'm good to go. I can still hear what's going on if the machine's making a funny noise, but it cuts down on the noise deafening, you know, high pitchedness of the actual noise. So just a little thing there. Now, for as why you know, I didn't get to the drawer boxes for my parents' kitchen. Now, this is something you'll learn if you decide to go into business for yourself like I did. You know, as a sole proprietor, you know, I'm doing all the work. I'm doing all the accounting, I'm doing all the business papers, I'm doing all the sales, I'm doing all the actual labor in the shop. My wife helps me from time to time, but she's not a permanent fixture here in the shop. My wife has a job, you know, she does that during the day. She comes home, she doesn't necessarily want to come down and help me in the shop every single day. So she's not down here all that often. She more helps me with paperwork and some other things in the background. But you know, as basically a sole proprietor where I'm doing all the work, things happen. Crap happens. You know, last Wednesday when I made the video log, I was upstairs editing, getting ready to post it, and just before I got it published on YouTube, an email came in from one of my clients that I had gone to see on Monday about her kitchen. Now, when I saw her Monday, I had given her 2 bids based on, because she wasn't sure what she wanted. And when she emailed me, she actually had a whole list of stuff she wanted. She had questions about. She wanted to see, you know, possibly what this change would do to the bid, things like that. And you can't put that stuff off. You know, you don't. I don't have an independent sales department to do this for me. So, you know, I have to sit down and do that. Now that took pretty much the rest of Wednesday and into Wednesday morning when I had to call one of my suppliers because she wanted a price in maple, not cherry. So one of those things that you have to do to survive as a business is you have to do all this stuff. If you don't do the sales work, if you don't do the legwork to get the jobs coming in the door, you don't have any work to do. You know, don't have any work to do, no money comes in, you can't make it. So, you know, this is kind of a thing. And then Thursday night, the same kind of deal happened. I got contacted by a potential another customer, you know, like 8 o'clock Thursday night. You know, I had a little bit of time. I was working on a little bit of paperwork already, so I just told him, you know, I'll get it done. I'll send it to him. Send it to him that night within an hour. And he got back to me and said, you know, he wants it done, wants to meet up. You know, he has to sign the paperwork, get the contract. I have to get the deposit, everything like that. So Friday morning, you know, an appointment at 10:30. You know, I have to drive an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes to this guy's house, do the paperwork. I was there for 45 minutes to turn around and come back, you know, another hour, hour and a half. So, you know, by the time I got back, it's like 2 o'clock in during the day. And, you know, at 4 o'clock, we wound up leaving to go see, you know, to go spend time with my family. Away we went to go eat dinner, you know, in another town nearby, and did some shopping where I went, got the printer and things. But, you know, things happen, and unfortunately, that's the way things are for a sole proprietor like like Woodcrafts by Design. So, you know, in these vlogs, if I say something's going to happen, I tried my darndest to make it happen, but sometimes it doesn't, because sales are just as important as actually getting work done in the shop, because if you don't have a consistent lineup of work, uh, you're done, you know. Now, like I mentioned, on Friday I went to go see a customer. He gave me the deposit, signed the paperwork, so I'm going to be working on that, which is kind of exciting. It's a small, little under 7 square foot countertop, solid wood, solid walnut countertop. So I have the materials on order. It's coming in this Thursday, so sometime in the next 2 weeks after I get the materials in, I'm going to be building that. I'm not sure how much is going to be actually filmed, but we'll see what happens. So, you know, as things progress, you know, we'll see how things go with these video log series. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this video series or any of the other series, oh, speaking of which, I added a new series to the channel, a tips and tricks series that I'm hoping to do. These other series besides the video log are kind of going to be like when I do them, they're not going to have a set date that they come out. You know, I have an idea that, you know, the tool topic videos come out like the first of the month, but that doesn't happen all the time. You know, these other video series that I'm planning on doing, like the tips and tricks, might just come out when I actually film a tip and tricks video and be able to get that out. So, but I did put out a new video on Saturday, you know, for you to check out. It's a tips and tricks video of some of the hacks that I use on the LR32 hole drilling system by Festool, the tool that I kind of reviewed in the first tool topic video. I figured since I did that as a tool topic, I should do the tips and tricks for it as the first tips and tricks video of the series, so kind of they go hand in hand. But yeah, if you want to, check that out. So if you like this video series or any of the other series on my channel, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever I put out a new video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those below. I'll try to get to those. And until then, keep making sawdust. I'll see you next week. Bye.